Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Okay, I will quickly get into the topic. My agenda is going to be three things: copper, fiber, and automated infrastructure. Okay, now we have been hearing about the apps, about the bots, about the artificial intelligence, all sorts of things from the morning, right? Now, the basic thing is that it needs to have a good network for everything to work and to give benefits to the customers. And so that's where we are, okay? So I'm going to talk about some of the trends, some of the things, what is happening in the network side on these 3 points, and how you can do a better investment in these solutions so that you do not rip open and then reinvest again, right? So as CommScope, we are into 4 verticals. The first is the data center networks. Without data center, nothing is going to work as a business. Right now, whatever the apps you want to run, you need a central place or a center depository, and that's what that works on data centers. Artificial intelligence, you need a big data center to work. So data center, we provide all types of solutions to connect and to deliver the business applications, right? And then the wireless network. Now, this wireless network is not the enterprise wireless access points, but these are your 2G, 3G, 4G, or tomorrow 5G networks, right? And so we provide the connectivity for all the wireless or the radio frequency network to operate upon. And then the building and venue networks, the building, I mean, I will put it in your terms, that is maybe a corporate headquarters, or it could be a branch office, right? Any kind of building, any kind of offices, any kind of floor networks, we do the building for that. And the wireline networks, wireline network is from the service provider to the homes, which works on all kinds of PON technology, that is the GPON, which provides a higher bandwidth, easy access, or a triple play kind of network. And so we provide the network for the GPON connectivity, right? And so these are the 4 sectors or 4 verticals what CommScope plays a major role. Now, coming into the copper side, some of you might be knowing about it. Now, whether it's a branch office or whether it's a corporate headquarters, or it could be even an e-lounge, right? Now, you need a wireless connectivity inside. And now the wireless keeps increasing. The data rate in the wireless access point keeps increasing. And so now, if you look at this particular slide, I mean, today people talk about giving 7 gig throughput on a wireless access point, right? So that means you need a bigger bandwidth to connect the wireless back to the network. So you still need wires. Without wires, wireless cannot work, right? And so you need a big connectivity there. And the next trend which is there today is the power over Ethernet. Now, today you have maybe up to 60 watts of power running, though it's proprietary, but still you have 60 watts of power delivery. And the standards are working towards, like there you can see that you can deliver 90 watts of power. It's not an electrical circuit, right? It's a data circuit, but you can still deliver 90 watts of power, which also leads into all the IoT necessities, right? So now, IoT is playing a major role, whether irrespective of the industry, right? I mean, today it plays a major role in the manufacturing, but it's already started developments for all the enterprise and for all the BFSI segments. And so now, for all these things, you have to, when you do the first install itself, think about now, don't think about only a component cost, but think about what the future, what the apps you want to run on that. So there is some standards called TIA and ISO, which suggest that you have to install the category 6A as a copper media, right? So if you can also work with category 6, which is the lower grade than category 6A, it will work, but you cannot have the kind of throughput what you need. If you do not have that throughput, whatever the apps what we were spoken from the morning, it may not work so properly, right? And so the speed of deployment, the latency will be very high when you go for a lower grade, right? And so that's the first point in the copper segment. Now, when it comes to the fiber, I think even we are going to hear from our friends today on this one. The rate of change is pretty fast, okay? Now, I'm not sure how many of you know about this. In 1983, it was at 10 megabits, and that time it was such a big network, right? 10 megabits was very huge. But today, we are talking about 400 gig, and still it's not enough, right? And there is an alliance called Ethernet Alliance, which has shown a roadmap of 10 terabits. That's going to be the speed of the network. So now when you build your network, whether it's in a data center or in an office network, what technology you will choose? Are you going to build it for today or for tomorrow, right? And you also have the other confusing points, whether it's going to be a parallel network or it's going to be a duplex network, right? And so you have to consider all these points before you decide on what kind of technology, what kind of fiber you are going to put in the network, right? And your network infrastructure, like we spoke about cloud, and so that means not only the apps, right? Your network should be cloud friendly. Your network should be agile and flexible. Only then your apps can be the cloud friendly apps, right? And that also ties it into one important thing, that your network should be able to take higher densities, and the losses from the network should be pretty low, right? And that's what is called as ultra low loss. Now here you can see that the data rate keeps going up, right? It is, today it is standing at 400 gig. And this year beginning, it's about January time, 200 and 400 gig standards was released. Until last year, it was 100 gig. Last year, 40 and 100 gig was predominant. And from January, the 40 is taking a back seat, and it's becoming 100 and 200, 400 gig is taking the forefront. And the scalability, now that scalability, you have a new standard called OM5, and so the number of strands can be reduced. That means the number of fibers can be reduced by deploying a OM5 fiber, and you can still deliver a higher throughput, right? And of course, the ultra low loss solutions, you can see some of the products there. And the most important thing is like how fast you can deploy it. Now, the faster you deploy, the faster your ROI is going to be, right? And the faster you can deliver your apps, and the faster you can service your customers. And so, as you move on your data rate, everything becomes a pre-terminated solution. You cannot do a termination, or you cannot do the splicing kind of thing in the field. It has to be done, pre-done in the factory, and then it has to be shipped to the location. But that also gives you an advantage that it becomes a plug and play. You just take it out of the box, plug it, and start working on it, right? And by using technologies like OM5, you can cut down the number of fibers, which means it becomes easier to manage, easier to maintain, right? And all that works with the management. Today, you can manage the physical layer network, right? And so that's called as a AIM, Automated Infrastructure Management, and that becomes a complete management of the physical layer. Now, a couple of interesting data points here. You can see that 49% of IT managers says that managing the infrastructure is always a pain, whether it's in a data center or an office network, because today you have more and more applications coming which works basically on a virtualized environment, right? So how do you manage the virtualization? And the network architecture has changed. Earlier, we used to use a 3-tier architecture, whether in the backbone of a building or in a data center. But today, in the data center, it becomes something called as a leaf and spine. So in a leaf and spine network, the density of fiber is enormous. So then how do you manage all those things? How do you maintain and manage? And of course, as a user, you have the IoTs and all the virtualization. And so now the network is becoming dense, and more devices are getting added up because of the business needs, right? And you can even see something interesting here. You can even put a light on the network today, right? So you can run literally these kind of lights on a network, and then you can add sensors to it, and then you can manage, you can monitor, you can automate a lot of the physical layer infrastructure, right? And the interesting thing here, you can see that almost 1 in 5 of the events, whatever happens in a network, it's all because of the humans, okay? Which means to say that the process is not correct, or somebody, even if the process is correct, still you go and do a mistake. So all those things happen, and that puts a lot of pressure on the network, on the delivery of services, as well as on the finance side, right? You get into a loss because of the human errors, right? I'm just taking 2 points here. Now, when you want to give application rollout, let's take an example like, for example, you know, every festival season, a new scheme comes out from all the e-commerce people, right? Like Flipkarts and Amazons. And so now, if you look in the background, what happens is they want to put a new server, right? Or a new application. So in the network, they have to have the complete connectivity, including the switches, the servers, the connecting hardware, everything, right? Now the question is, can I reuse a server? Can I reuse a switch? Or should I invest again? So that's where we help. We find out what are the switch ports which is not used or which is kept idle. Can you reuse that? You know, you can save a lot of money, the time, and the energy. Because the moment you put one switch, you need a power and you need a cooling. Otherwise, it will blow off, right? And so, and on top of it, invest again on the hardware itself. And so, all these things can be found out, automated, and that helps you in saving a lot of cost in that, right? And then the other important thing is, like, you have so much of branches today. It could be, and so much of departments today. And so, how does the IT department manage all these networks, right? You can do that by using the automation, sitting in a central place. It can be any number of networks, and there is no geography boundation here. It could be within your campus, it could be within a city, within a state, or a country, or across the globe, right? You can do all types of management. And the aim, that is the automated infrastructure management, it tells you what is connected, how is it connected, the entire path, and it also tells you where is it connected and when it was connected, right? And so that helps you in decision-making factors, right? So here you can see that it gives you the complete connectivity path. Like in this picture, you can see it better. It gives you the complete connectivity path of how is it connected, where is it connected, and what is it connected there. So then you decide whether can you reuse that server, can you reuse the switch ports, do I need to invest again, do I need to spend money, or can I save some money, right? So that's the smart network, what helps you in your finance segment, right? And as CommScope, we provide all types of connectivity right from the entrance into your facility. That's called as the fiber entrance. And then the pathway to lay the fibers, because the fiber becomes very sensitive because of the higher data rate. You cannot bend it too tight. It has to have its own path. So we provide all that. And because of the business needs, because of the more and more applications, the problem is there is no space availability in a data center to provide all these connectivity products, right? But without the connectivity, your apps are not going to work. So you can imagine the reverse pressure coming on us, and we provide higher density products whereby, like just to give an example, earlier, if I take a 19-inch, maybe a panel, we used to provide 24 ports earlier, but today you can even have 144 ports in the same kind of space. So you can save a lot of space there. And of course, the copper, the management, and the ultra-low loss products to provide you the very high efficient and lower number of fiber counts, but at the same time delivering a higher data rate, like what we are talking about, 400 gig in the same space, right? So CommScope, we help people with our experience and focused on the progress. When I say progress, that means we play a major role, we play a leadership role in all the standard bodies, like I gave a glimpse of TIA and ISO, IEEE, or the storage networks. We play a leadership role in our standards, in all the global standards, and help people, help companies, and help customers like you, right? Thank you very much.